appears as though converting more visitors is one of your biggest paid search marketing challenges. And I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. 26% of the people that take this survey indicate that it's their biggest challenge as well. And this is something that we see universally across small, medium, and large business. So it's not uncommon for the clients that we engage to, be saying, listen, if we could just convert more visitors, we'd be profitable. And it sounds like kind of a common sense thing, and sure, it does make sense, right? But it's not as easy as it seems, and there certainly is no button that you can push to just magically convert more of the prospects that are, visiting your digital marketing, your paid search marketing programs today. So instead of asking yourself, why does a prospect convert? I often also like to ask, why doesn't a prospect convert? And I think this is an important way to approach it. And again, I like to approach it from both ends because it forces us to look at more than just maybe front-end metrics or the normal conversion mechanisms, because conversion really doesn't start at your landing page or your website. It starts much earlier in the process of your marketing than that. Many times prospects don't convert because they're the wrong prospects. Sometimes they don't convert even if they are the right prospects because it's the wrong time. So it's critical that you understand the buyer's journey and how to target your prospects, where to target your prospects within that journey to make sure that you're giving yourself the opportunity to generate the highest return on investment possible. So there's a concept that we work with, and every marketing strategy that we roll out is targeted at what we call in-market now prospects. So the buyer's journey has three phases: awareness, consideration, and decision, right? And a lot of marketing gurus will tell you you should be targeting your prospects in all three phases. Well, in a bubble, sure, that makes perfect sense. But what we recommend is you should be targeting people at the consideration and the decision stages, because that's when they're in market now. And only once you've exhausted all of your marketing investment and every ounce of productivity that you can get out of that, should you then start going to the awareness stage to try and pick up an incremental lift of some people there that you might be able to push through your funnel or your sales process. It's critical to understand there's a big difference between somebody who's just kind of looking for some information and somebody who has actually raised their hand and said, I'm in market for your product or service and I'm looking for to make this purchase today, okay? Versus somebody saying, well, I've heard of this kind of thing and I'm just going to go look it up and here's some information. The reality of the world is that people in the awareness stage are going to be very happy to have you educate them on everything that they need to know. And then once they're ready to make a purchase, a lot of times they're going to go online and they're going to search out your competition to find out if there's better solutions, alternative solutions, more cost-effective solutions for their company, places they can get more bang for their buck. It's just the reality of the world that we live in. So let somebody else educate them. Meanwhile, you're going to be spending or investing your marketing dollars at the consideration and decision stage, so that when a healthy portion of them go looking for that purchase or to make that purchase, you're going to be scooping them up and you're going to give yourself a much better chance at converting these people, because at least we know they're in market now. You're not trying to convince them that what your product or service or just what it is the best. You're going to be convincing them that you're the best solution for a problem that they've already identified that they have and they want to solve. And it just completely changes the conversations that you're going to have with these prospects. So the beauty of paid search marketing, one of the beauties of it, okay, is that you can do intent-based marketing here. All right. So Facebook, magazines, all of these sorts of things are really demographic marketing plays. You're saying, put me in front of an audience that kind of looks similar to what my ideal client looks like, and maybe somebody will do business with me. But the biggest problem there is you have no idea when or if they are ever going to be in market. So you're putting out this shotgun approach, just kind of hoping that a few of these, prospects just might come your way. Well, I prefer not to work on hope. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that we're targeting them when they're in market now, at that consideration and decision stage of the buyer's journey, based on the proper intent of what they're looking for. So how does this flush out in real world terms? So ask yourself, what's the difference between somebody looking for cleaning carpets versus a carpet cleaning company, or Microsoft SharePoint versus Microsoft SharePoint services? Well, in each, the former is probably looking for some self-help or general information. They're in the awareness stage, maybe not even related to actually what you do. In the latter, they've identified an issue and they're looking for you to solve it. They're looking for a vendor to come clean their carpet. They're looking for a company or a person that can help them with some SharePoint customization or development. This is a huge and critical difference. And I know it seems like something small, and in reality, changing or adding qualifiers to your keyword phrases is kind of a small thing, but its impact is truly significant because you're completely changing where you're targeting these people in the buyer's journey. Now, I know a lot of times marketers make this mistake because it feels good. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of volume in some of these more general search phrases. But the volume does not mean it's the right volume. It does not mean it's the right people looking for the right information and looking for what you do. And so a lot of times you end up spending a lot of your budget where you shouldn't, and you get very, very little return. So 3 concepts there to remember. Again, the buyer's journey, in market now, and intent marketing. And if you can layer those 3 things on top of each other, you're going to put yourself in a much better position to be successful. The next thing I want to talk to you about here when it comes to converting more visitors is cost per conversion. It does matter, but maybe not in the way you traditionally think. Low cost per conversion campaigns do not necessarily translate into the most profitable, successful campaigns. And this is why it's important to have a handle on what's happening all the way through your sales process in your funnel. But the point that I want to make here is you can absolutely absorb a higher cost per conversion if you're converting to a sale at a higher rate, or you have a higher average dollar amount and profit for those type of orders. But you also want to just not let that get away from you. You want to make sure that you're concentrating on getting your cost per conversion under control. And I bring this up because I find that one of the biggest mistakes a lot of paid search marketers make is that they use very loose match types, right? So you got about 4 major match types within Google for your phrases. You got broad, modified broad, phrase, and exact. And you can find information on those. I'm not going to go through them now. But the general philosophy here is that the more restrictive your match type is, the more relevant the search is that Google will match you up with on the back end. So in practical terms, this means stay away from broad match as much as possible. Listen, I'll give you a little secret here. Google's job is to get you to spend as much money on Google AdWords as they can. Their job is not to make you successful, okay? They would love you to use broad match all day long so they can match you up with a whole host of things that are loosely related and charge you for that click. So we need to rein Google in, and we need to do that in one way by using more restrictive match types. To the point where I don't use broad match at all, and if I do, I will isolate it into its own campaign to make sure that I can tell if it's actually having a positive impact on return on investment. Sometimes I even do that with modified broad matches. So something for you to consider: if you are going to use it, you need to isolate it and make sure it actually works. But I highly recommend that you start using the exact, phrase, and modified broad match only. Stay away from just the regular broad match if you can, unless there's a situation that just requires you to use it for some reason, or you can isolate it and test it. So if you do that, the end result should be that you're getting more conversions at a lower cost per conversion, and they should be higher quality conversion. Next thing that I want to talk about briefly is your bid types, right? So bid types are important. Personally, I prefer to use manual bids because I want to see if we can compete in the top 3 spots. Nowadays, with Google getting rid of the right side search and all of the changes that they've made, people really don't scroll too far. So if you're down at the bottom of the page, it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy where you're not going to be clicked as much, which means your click-through rate's going to be lower. Google's going to penalize you for your lower expected click-through rate by increasing your cost or your bid per click and lowering your positions. And you just kind of go through this self-defeating cycle of spending more money for lower positions and not getting the performance you need. So I really like to see, if we're going to compete, can we do it in the top 3 spots? Now, this doesn't always work, okay? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, depending on the campaign and the search landscape and all of that sort of thing. So there are other bid match types available. You can do automated bidding, you can do enhanced cost per click, you can bid for first page, top of page. The point here isn't which one you should use. The point is that you should be testing various strategies to see what works best for you. And if you've got just a stubborn problem campaign, then maybe it's time to start looking at some of your other bid types so that you can compete in a higher position at a lower cost, or find out where your sweet spot is. All right, last thing I want to talk to you about is landing pages. So if you want to convert more visitors, it kind of makes a lot of sense to keep testing different formats on your landing pages. Sometimes to the point where we'll find that different keyword match types, just for some reason, draw people that are more reactive to certain layouts or information than others. And I find all too often paid search marketers will set up their landing pages and then kind of walk away from them for a long time. And that is absolutely something that you have to avoid. You should always be testing your landing pages one element at a time, A/B tests, 50-50 split in your traffic, and get a good solid amount of data so you can actually make an informed decision. And I think what you'll find is that you'll start running into certain elements that for some reason people just respond to. It can be something as simple as adding a testimonial, or a photo and introduction of somebody that might be reaching out to contact them, or a different call to action on the button on your form, a different layout on your product page. All of these things are critical and important, and if you continue to test them, you're going to increase your conversion rates and get a higher return on investment. Again, that's what this is all about. So we've gone over a few things that we're hoping get you on a path to solving your biggest challenge. In reality, usually these things are much more complicated than what we can do here in a couple of pages or a little bit of video. But the important thing is, you guys asked, you spoke, and we listened, right? So we've got a selection of advanced guides that we put together based entirely on what you told us were the biggest challenges that you face. Because we want to be able to make you a paid search superhero. We want companies using paid search to be successful in paid search. And we realize that not all companies can afford our agency rates. And the ones that do pay us thousands of dollars to come in, teach these concepts, strategies, and tactics to their people, or deploy it for them. And it takes a budget to do that, a big budget. But for those who they don't have the budget to pay an agency these fees, we wanted to be able to help you too. So all of this knowledge that's in our head, all of the money that we've spent, all of the testing that we've done, all of the strategies and tactics we use are available in our advanced guides here at the Paid Search Society for pennies compared to what it would cost to have us come in and consult with you directly. Return on investment, something we talk about throughout every single one of these segments. You put these strategies in place, the return on investment that you will get from our advanced guides is mind-boggling. It's a no-brainer. They sell from $75 to $200, and because you're here today and you took our survey, we're actually giving you a 25% discount offer good for the next 5 days. You can find the coupon code down below. You use that when you check out, purchase any of these. We're not even going to limit how many that you can use this discount on, because we want you to be successful. We want you learning more about paid search and how to do it properly. So that's where you've got to go from here. Each one of these issues is a very complex thing. Paid search is a very complex area. With these strategies and tactics that we've put in place that we're sharing with you in these advanced guides, you can be more successful than you ever dreamed of. And when you become a profit center for your business rather than a cost center, your career is going to go in a whole nother direction. So shop around for the guides. There's a few at the bottom of this page. You can go to the section if you want. But if you're looking at what you can do from here, you're not going to find these advanced strategies and tactics anywhere else. So highly recommend, take a look, enjoy your discount. Thank you very much for being here, and come back to the Paid Search Society often. This is all we're going to be talking about 24/7, 365. Thank you.